where power reigns supreme, the weak are mere shadows, destined to be extinguished. The dim glow of the evening sun cast long shadows across the cobblestone streets of Eldoria, a city that had once pulsed with the vitality of magic and laughter. Now it lay shrouded in a cloak of despair, where the vibrant colors of life faded into muted grays. Young Kaelan stood in the narrow alley, his small frame dwarfed by the towering buildings that loomed like sentinels of his sorrow. The air was thick with the scent of smoke and the distant echoes of revelry, sounds that seemed to mock his solitude. Kaelan wrapped his arms around himself, as if trying to shield his heart from the chilling memories that haunted him. The warmth of the sun on his skin felt foreign, an echo of the love he had lost just weeks ago. He could still hear the haunting echoes of that fateful night, the crackling of magic igniting the air, the anguished cries of his mother, and the silhouette of a figure against the flames that had consumed his world. "Stay close, Kaelan," his mother had urged, her voice trembling as she held him tight. The warmth of her embrace had been his only shield against the darkness that encroached. But that night, their fragile safety had shattered as the most powerful magical user in Eldoria descended upon their humble home, seeking to eradicate those he deemed unworthy. As the memory flickered to life, Kaelan felt the hot tears sting his eyes. He was just a boy, barely 10, thrust into a world of cruelty and powerlessness. His father had tried to protect them, but he was no match for the dark sorcerer who had taken everything from him. With a flick of his wrist, Kaelan's father had been reduced to ash, a mere casualty in a game of magic that Kaelan could never hope to understand. In the days that followed, the boy had learned the harsh reality of life in Eldoria. With his parents gone, he was taken captive by Lord Varek, a man whose cruelty knew no bounds. Kaelan was forced into servitude, cleaning the opulent halls of a manor that glimmered with wealth and excess, a stark contrast to the despair that now filled his heart. Each day brought fresh humiliation, his master's sneers and laughter echoing in his ears as he was treated like an animal, a mere plaything for Varek's amusement. The lavishness of the manor was suffocating. Crystal chandeliers hung like stars in a forgotten sky, casting a cold light on the darkened corners of Kaelan's soul. He spent hours polishing the floors, scrubbing away the remnants of a life he no longer recognized. The laughter of Varek's guests drifted through the halls, sharp and mocking, as they reveled in their power, oblivious to the suffering of those beneath them. Another game in the arena. Kaelan overheard one evening the words of a nobleman slicing through the air like a knife. "I hear they'll send the weak to fight each other again. It's always such entertainment." Kaelan froze, the mention of the arena igniting a flicker of hope within him. He had heard whispers of the Blood Arena, a place where the downtrodden were cast into combat, forced to fight for their lives, while the rich and powerful watched with gleeful anticipation. It was a brutal spectacle, but it was also a chance to prove himself, to escape the chains of his servitude, and perhaps to seek vengeance for his parents. "Can you imagine?" Another voice chimed in, filled with laughter. "They think they can win. It's always so amusing to see them torn apart." Kaelan's heart raced. This was it, the first glimmer of an opportunity to turn the tides. He could enter the arena, face his fears, and unleash the power that lay dormant within him. The thought sent shivers down his spine, the thrill of defiance mingling with the fear that had become a constant companion. That night, as the moon cast a pale glow over the city, Kaelan found himself alone in his small quarters, the walls closing in around him. He closed his eyes and focused, envisioning his parents' faces, his mother's gentle smile, his father's fierce determination. They had always believed in him, even when he couldn't believe in himself. "What if I can turn the tides?" he whispered to himself, clenching his fists until his nails dug into his palms. He envisioned the arena filled with roaring crowds, their faces a blur of anticipation and contempt. What if I can become powerful enough to take revenge? In the days that followed, Kaelan dedicated himself to training in secret. Under the cover of darkness, he would practice in the hidden corners of the manor, honing his body and mind. He gathered fragments of magical tomes left unattended and studied them fervently, absorbing every word as if it were a lifeline. With each spell he practiced, he felt the faint stirrings of power at his fingertips, a warm glow that whispered promises of strength and vengeance. He fashioned a makeshift weapon from scraps he found, a jagged piece of iron that he could wield with surprising dexterity. Each swing was a testament to his resilience, a declaration that he would not be broken. He could almost taste the freedom that awaited him, the intoxicating scent of victory fueling his determination. The day of the arena arrived with a sinister promise. The air crackled with excitement, and Kaelan stood at the entrance, heart pounding in his chest. He could hear the thunderous roar of the crowd, their cheers echoing like a storm. The massive gates towered above him, and he felt the heat of the arena radiate, calling to him with a siren's song. As he stepped through the gates, he was met with a sight that both thrilled and terrified him. The arena was a vast, circular expanse, surrounded by towering walls that loomed like giants. The sand beneath his feet was stained with the remnants of past battles, a grim reminder of the sacrifices made for entertainment. "The first fight begins," the announcer's voice boomed, reverberating through the arena like a war drum. Kaelan's breath hitched in his throat, and the world around him faded into a blur. He was not just a boy anymore. He was a contender, a warrior ready to embrace his destiny. The laughter of the crowd filled the air, a cacophony of anticipation and cruelty. Yet beneath that laughter, he felt a stirring, a pulse of magic awakening within him, begging to be unleashed. "Today the shadows of the weak will rise," he declared to himself, pushing through the fear that threatened to overwhelm him. As he took his position in the arena, the realization hit him. This was his moment, his chance to reclaim the life that had been stolen from him. No longer would he be a victim. He would rise, not only for himself but for the memory of his parents. With a deep breath, he steadied himself, his heart pounding like a war drum in his chest. The arena, with all its chaos and danger, was a canvas upon which he would paint his revenge. Teaser. In the next chapter, Kaelan will face his first opponent, an embodiment of the cruel world he seeks to escape. As he battles, he will discover the depths of his power and the price of victory. Will he rise against the odds, or will the arena claim yet another victim? Next chapter. Preview. In Chapter 2, Kaelan's first fight will test his limits, revealing unexpected allies and fierce enemies. As he begins to uncover the secrets of his power, he will have to decide whether to embrace the darkness within or fight against it. The question remains, can he maintain his humanity while seeking revenge in a world that revels in cruelty?